I am logging into the application at the current time. Okay, when logging into the balance scorecard, the first screen that you see is labeled bookmarks. And it's labeled bookmarks for a couple of reasons. It gives executives, portfolio managers, the option of looking at immediately what's important to them associated to their responsibilities. So what I've done is I've set up a couple of folders associated to the Product Launch Portfolio Management Executive Command Center, right? And as you see, I expanded the folder here, and it's telling me the reports that are underneath it. So I'm going to click on this report here. This is the red exception report. As a project manager, as a portfolio manager, or even responsibility for an entire PMO governance, the way that you keep your organization in alignment with the strategic goals and objectives is managing your yellow and red exceptions, right? So this is a report that's automatically generated within the application, and it color codes those items that are not performing to the organization's goals, right? And it immediately puts it into the report. So that's the red exception report. Then we're going down here, and I'm going to, this is a custom report that was developed within the application to flag and display all items that are yellow. So if you want to stay in alignment with the goals and objectives of the organization, if you manage your yellow and red in an expedient manner, these are the items within your portfolio or project or program that require immediate attention for resolution, okay? Now, as far as PMO governance, that might be a set of reports that they may want to look at. And go down here to folder setup for a portfolio manager. Excuse me. And these are reports that are generated by the balance scorecard, right? And just a little refresher here, let me go over to the deck that was provided to you for today's demonstration. I'm not going to go through the entire deck. Reason being is PMO governance has already seen the information, the majority of the information, but I just want to do a little refresher so that you understand the scoring associated with the tool. First slide I'm going to look at is a slide that's published by Gartner. And what it does is it shows where your PMO governance may be in relationship to becoming effective, and 5 being the highest level, right? And you can see here that you have people, PPM processes and technology, financial management, and relationships being the intertwining elements, right? Level 1, I would classify that to be somewhat of an immature PMO, and I would classify number 5, level 5, as a mature PMO, one that's developed its people and PPM processes, financial management, and relationships through continuous improvement. Now, just a refresher on the scoring mechanism, right? You have your actual performance, and then you establish thresholds for your actual performance to scale against based upon the strategic direction of the organization, okay? So just a refresher in the scoring associated with that. You have red, yellow, green, and blue. Red is a score of 0, so you're not performing well there, which would be on your exception report, your red exception report. 2.5 to 5 would be classification in your yellow exception report. 5 to 7.5 would be considered performing well, performing to organizational objectives, But 7.5 to 10 is where you want to be regardless of what category, because that's where you're overperforming. So you have reserves established, right? So the balanced scorecard gives you a quick way of understanding your organization in an expedient manner. Okay, going down to the next slide. You read this slide from right to left because this is the hierarchy of the scoring. So the score that you establish at this project summary level feeds into the level at continuous improvement, and we've demonstrated that in the PPM Executive Command Center, which then rolls into this, which then rolls into this, which then rolls into this. So this is the hierarchy structure associated with it. And then at the end of the day, all of this rolls into the PPM Executive Command Center. Okay? So now I'm going back over to Quick Score. So that's what you're looking at here when you look at the scoring. You're looking at the score within the application associated with the balanced scorecard, right? So then here are some other reports as soon as you go into it that you may want to look at, right? So you want to look at gates, how you were performing as far as the gates percentage complete or the gate days. And you can customize this. Each individual that has a license to the tool can customize their bookmark according to however they deem appropriate. So if I were to send you viewing rights to the tool right now and you logged in, you would have no bookmarks because you would have to set up the bookmark on your own. Okay? Now I'm going to go into the tool itself. And bear with me 1 second here. And I'm going to go to Strategic Initiative. This is the organization that I've set up for this demonstration. When I go in here, I'm going to go to Strategic Initiatives to let you see how this is set up. Okay. I've established a linked hierarchy structure that has 4 the gates that are established within this demonstration, right? So underneath this, we have tasks, right? So when you go into the task, it actually has speed dials, which will show you the current disposition associated with that task, right? It's supposed to start on 3.1, end on 3.7. Time elapsed is 100% complete. The budget was $2,500. The remaining budget is $600. So if we can bring $600 back and apply it to some other function, right? It was 2 days late and 24. I'm sorry, it's 24% under budget. Okay, so it came in at $1,900, so we're applying $600 elsewhere. So then when we go down here, the goal, we're supposed to have this completed week ending March 7th. The percent complete is 100% complete. And the budget spent was 80% of the budget. So that's where the $600 came into play. So then it's telling me when it was completed. You have a capability of seeing when it was completed as well, okay? So for expediency's sake, let me go over here and click on this level here and go to Gantt chart. So you have the Gantt chart functionality in it. Let me go over here and also show you tasks. And this is a neat feature. You can design this and set this up so that when you have a task, you can assign someone to the task, and then when you click this Add to Calendar, it will automatically send a message to them via Outlook that they can post to their calendar for delivery. Okay? Let me let you see what that looks like. It will actually be a screenshot which will show that it's gate 4, product complete / design freeze, and you can actually post that to your calendar and it will immediately post for delivery on that date. Okay? So now what I want to do is go back over to the balance scorecard. And I want to go over here. Because it only displays red or green in strategic initiatives, I didn't think that was appropriate because you constantly have changes within your project information. So when you constantly have changes, you expect there to be some slippage, either pro or con, that you're going to have to make adjustments for. So what I did was I set up a gate % complete over here where you can actually go into the application, and I'm going to click overview here, and you can see, let me put this on weekly. The other thing that I determined was that as far as the organization and the reporting associated with the PLPM tool, you may want to report on that on a weekly basis as opposed to a monthly basis, because it's not really a long-term project, even though the product life cycle may be long. So, and also this does have the capability of having earned value management incorporated into it, right? So you can see here that project registration performed in the yellow category, and it performed a 3.3, and the actual score is a 3.43, right? So these are all measurements. And then the total percentage complete is the roll up here, right? So now, I'm going to go all the way up to the top. In product life cycle, you're very much concerned with revenue in force, right? So I'm going to go, and you have the capability of customizing your charting within the application various ways, right? So the default charting for the tool is the score, the scoring, the balance score, right? But if I click on this level here, you can see I've actually customized a different chart. And you have all sorts of can chart features within the tool. So I'm just going to slide down here and let you see some of the charting functionality that you have within the tool. So you can see here that as far as the revenue in force for retail, we're at $1,010,000. For education, we're at $17,000, and that's what's being displayed in the donut chart there. So if we come down here and look at this one here, this is not scoring, it's the actual performance for that time frame associated with education. So in the week of May 29th, education came in at $18,000, and that was under the goal objectives. And you can see here by looking at the worst, the red flag, the goal, the reach out, and the best, right? So then when you come over here, then they came in at 21,000, 17,000, etc. So now what I'm going to do, for the sake of time, is I'm going to expand all and just quickly go down here through so you can see what's been incorporated into this, right? So basically what this has done is by industry level, we're reporting the income, right? So now when you get down to this category here, the income matches the income up here, but it's broken out by a product level. So this is industry level, this is product level. Also, a PMO governance has been set up for capital metrics, and capital metrics conform to the strategic roadmap, right? So we'd be talking about return on investment, benefit cost ratio, payback period, net present value, your profit margin percentage, profit margin dollars, your cost percentage, and your cost dollars, right? This is what I would call a pseudo center that I could use in programming within the application. Also, if you go back to the chart where we were talking about the maturity of the organization, the PMO governance can actually set up percentages associated with how they want the thresholds to be established within the organization, right? As a portfolio manager, best practices says that you may want to look at hours, utilization, the pay rate, and come up with the total dollars for tracking within the project, right? I've also talked about the percentage complete associated with the gates, and then we're tracking the delinquency by days, by categories. And what I mean by that is project initiation came in 11 days late. Therefore, it was coded a red. Project registration came in 2 days late, which moved it into the yellow category. You can also include information associated with help desk. So call volume, right? Time per call. So all of these things, the whole theory behind the balanced scorecard and the PLPM Executive Command Center is integrating all of your required business computations, understanding the goals of the organization, automating, developing new processes, streamlining with templates, etc. Okay? So then you can even put in here customer satisfaction surveys associated with the price, the quality, the cycle time and delivery, returns. Also warranty costs, right? So if you've actually developed the product that you're going to market to sell, you may want to track your implementation costs as well. Okay? Then I set up a little nice feature down here where instead of sending 1,000 emails cross-functionally within the organization, you can actually create a central notes repository that you train your core team to go to, sponsors and stakeholders, to record all of the issues or risks associated with the project that need to be taken under consideration by the executive team or PMO governance. Okay? Now I'm going to switch gears here and go up here and show you some additional functionality. We talked about bookmarks. I'm going to go to alerts. You can flag the scorecard that we know it's scaling 1 to 10, but if it hits a 4, right, that it'll automatically generate an alert. And this alert will go to your Outlook account, right? And then you can tell how many alerts you've established within that organization. So these are all the alerts that I have established at the current time. Now I'm going to go to briefing books here, right? I showed you the yellow and the red exception reports, right? Now briefing books, consider briefing books to be today's PowerPoint presentation, depending on how you lay this out, right? So this is a tool where you can automate your presentations online within the application, right? So here you have 10 reports within the applications that are actually color coding and generating scores that you can look at spontaneously because you've sent it to your briefing book. Another one is the gates percentage complete, right? Another one is the gates analysis, right? Gates percent complete versus the gate days, how you're performing. And I showed you that in gate days, a couple of the gates were behind schedule, and that's being reflected in the scorecard score, okay? So one other thing I want to do, and we're going to eat into Dr. Harper's question time here because I need to make sure that everyone understands the functionality here. And I apologize for that, Dr. Harper. So now I'm going back to the scorecard, so I'm going to show you some additional functionality that's bridged and integrated with the scorecard, right? Navigation is one, right? So depending on what level you click on, it's going to automatically show you the color associated with that category that's been set up within the balanced scorecard. So if I go down here to PMO governance, right? Now, if you click on this little arrow, it's telling you the prior month color, right? So we only have 3 weeks of data, so it's showing you the score for those 3 weeks, okay? So now, let me keep going here. Let's go down to executive view. When we go down to executive view, this is another view, right? And it's telling you how everything's performing right here. Now, you can actually go here and it's telling you the prior month performance. And again, if you click on the prior month performance, it'll show you what's happened in the prior month's performance. And gray just represents that there's no data, right? If you click on the little bullet there, it's giving you additional detail. So it has all sorts of integrated functionality. And then if you wanted to put a note specific to something, you could actually add a note. Okay? So then, let's keep going. We've displayed overview. Let's go to performance measurement report, right? So this is performance measurement report. If you want to have a summary of how you've been performing associated with return on investment, when you click on the summary report, it'll actually show you how you've been performing. You wanted to know about benefit cost ratio, it's being displayed here. You were green the week of May 29th, you're red the week of June 5th, and you're green again the week of June 12th, right? And it'll give you that information for whatever level you click on. If you want to know your revenue and you want to know summary, that's the benefit of the performance measurement report. Let's go down here to notes. Notes are tracked at any level, and it will tell you. So I just put some test notes in here to display. And again, you have the capability of flagging the notes so that they automatically generate an alert for you. So if there's something that requires immediate attention, you can set it up so that you get an alert immediately in your Outlook account, right? And the other thing that we put into the tool, and it's kind of out-of-the-box thinking here, but we set this up so that you could actually, if you put a note in here that you deemed was appropriate by changing the status from 3 to 1 and save it, and go here and do a reload, notice it changed to red. So what's the benefit of that? Now it's going to be on the red exception report. Services, right? So that's your clue, or an executive or PMO's governance's clue to go to services to see what happened, right? So they may want to go here and then go over to notes to see what happened, okay? So now let me go back over to analysis. Within the application, you have a series of canned reports. Let's look at some of them, right? So if I go down, and I love this feature here, if I go down here to the objective level, right, and I click on this, it's telling me the percentages in the actual application and the dollar value or percentage associated with it. The color coding gives you an immediate insight that you don't have to do any research. If it's yellow, it's bad. If it's red, it's extremely bad. If it's yellow, it's about to go extreme. So these are the clues that give you the insight to go and do the things that you need to do, right? If you have activities within your intranet or your internet, or that you would like linked to something specific, you have the capability of doing that within the application as well, via scorecard object, dashboard, strategic initiative, web document, or a web address, okay? So then when we go down, Builder is a programming and development feature. So let's go up here, let's go back over here, and let's go, we've discussed briefing books, let's go to dashboard. The tool has the capability of creating dynamic status reports, and this is just an illustration. We have no verbiage or content here, but one of the things I want to show you is that if I slide this to the prior week, the dials are going to shift automatically with it. I go 1 week earlier, and we have a way of locking it down with the verbiage so that it remains static. But it gives you the capability of understanding. What makes this dynamic is it's automatically linked to the detail. Okay? And what you see here is we have a Gantt chart associated with where we currently are associated with gate 4. Currently we're on schedule to be on time, but we were behind schedule with the engagement, et cetera. So it gives you a lot of latitude in creating dynamic information that is traditionally very time consuming, right? If we go over here, this is just a different functionality that you're capable of doing within the tool associated with developing and communicating information. So as you can see, as I'm sliding through, it's giving you more and more information. And again, when you put the verbiage in there, we have a way of locking that information down. Then, if there's additional, if the project is off course, you have the capability of generating a strategy map within the tool, right? Issue and risk associated with it, issue and risk mitigation strategy, scope, schedule, impact, scope, schedule, funding, and resources. Those are the traditional elements of resolution and the corrective action required. So now I'm going to open it up to Dr. Harper for a question. We got about 4 minutes, Dr. Harper.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes,
okay. Is this question is going to be directed to you, Dennis?
Okay.
Yes. From looking at it from a strategic standpoint, where a number of companies, the statistics show that over 80 to 90% of people, companies don't execute their strategy. Okay, and so, in my experience, it's one of the missing ingredients is the business case, which can provide that economic justification for projects and programs along the road. How does your tool help? And a lot of that is due to the complexity in terms of putting those types of documents together. How does your tool help with that process?
Well, it would be metric-based. That's where the capital metrics come into play, and that would be your payback period, your return on investment, your benefit cost ratio. All of these would be included in your business case, because what's happening, the whole premise behind the business case and the strategic roadmap is for the executives to be able to determine which projects are going to be more beneficial to the organization. The strategic roadmap is generally a 5-year plan towards the infrastructure layout of the organization.
Okay, good. One more question. Okay,
sure.
One more question. From a tactical standpoint. Let's suppose I've got 100 projects that are in different, and I run a portfolio that is based on different categories. And what I want to do is be able to identify those programs that are in trouble, but also be able to put together an appropriate action plan to sort of mitigate any of those issues. How would I go about doing that in the tool? How difficult is that to do in the tool?
You can manage anything from the red and yellow exception report, right? That's the key, right? Because what happens in today's environments is you get inundated with mechanics as opposed to being able to look at things analytically. And the red and yellow exception report are going to tell you the functions or categories that are off track that require your immediate attention. Okay? Now, when you start talking about multiple products within an organization or product categories, it depends how you lay the organization, how you design the organization. Again, the tool is totally customizable. And I don't know if I showed you this, but the tool is also a document repository, right? So you can go out here, it retains documents as well, right? And it also has reports functionality, right? And when I go out here to Reports Writer, the yellow exception report is an actual customized report that has been generated for this demonstration.
Okay.
Okay, I'll give you one more, Dr. Harper, and then I got to switch to the PMO governance team.
Okay. Well, I was going to end here, but I'll give you one more. Setup. Okay, you know, when this is, you know, implementing this product is simply a change initiative, and so, you know, I have people that are currently working on things, and so this here, putting this product into action is going to be additional work. How is that whole process being managed? How's it going to be managed?
Well, you have to go through a current state design and a future state design, and you have to understand the gaps. This goes back to continuous improvement. Utilizing the PLPM Executive Command Center, we can create supporting templates, for example, an action item, issue, risk log, et cetera, to streamline that effort. But as you can see, the speed, simplicity, and self-confidence associated is through the automation and the holistic inclusion of all of the key elements that you consider to be critical within your organization.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Harper, for joining. Shoot me an email if you want any follow-up. And thank you for joining. And now, right. Appreciate you.
Okay. Take it easy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, let's see here. Okay. Sounds like you just dropped off there. Very good. I left the meeting. Okay. Tyco team, I'm all yours.
I had a couple of questions, if I can go.
Sure.
Sterling. Yeah, I like the color coding and the percent completion. I think that's really cool feature. I did have a noted question on the note section where you said you can create alerts. In the notes, can you also send alerts to others?
Right. So see here, the service notes, right? What I did, Carolyn, was I went into here. Service notes, remember, this is a hierarchy structure. That's what I was showing you earlier, right? So if I click here on services, and I update the performance measurement to the threshold, and I put it back at 3. Notice it goes up to in between yellow and green, or middle of the road, right? And the reason why it's not changed over here is because it's the way it makes its computation. So if I reload again, you can see the color status has turned to green. You with me, Carolyn?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. So now I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to change this to 1, which is the worst. It's big, right? So now what this does, it immediately puts it to red. So when I do a reload again, my performance metric is going to change to red, right? Now the benefit of it changing to red is when I go up here and understand the hierarchy structure, when you get to service notes is red, right? So when I click this red exclamation point here, you'll see services is red. So this is your flag to say, you have to go to notes, somebody's trying to tell you something. You following me?
Yes, and on the screen that you're on right now with these alerts, can you like direct them to go to somebody else's inbox?
Well, that's why I flagged it service notes, because it's red, but you need to go to notes. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Lindsay clarified for me. I'm a little slow here, Carolyn. Okay, so let's see here. It's going to take it a few minutes to get there, I can tell you that, Carolyn. Notes added. No, I want to do an alert based upon scoring. Score changed, right? So if the score reaches a 1, and I say save, what it's going to do is, if it hits a score of 1, it's going to send an alert, which goes to the outbox. That's what you were asking, and I apologize for not understanding that immediately. What's wrong here? Okay.
By the way, Dennis, I'm not sure if you were still intending to record that. You're still recording, right?
Yes, you're right. So let me stop that. Carolyn, we'll be right back with you.
Okay.
And when it sends that, let's say that note by email, is there a link within the body of the email that directs them back into the tool for them to make their updates?
Bear with me 1 second, Vincent.